You are watching Access LaPorte County Channel 97. Coming up next is the August 25th meeting of the Michigan City Finance Committee 2024 Budget Hearings, Part 5. You can find more information for this meeting at www.accesslaportecounty.org.
And welcome everyone to the 2024 Michigan City Budget Hearings. And we will be finishing up with our last department on this evening, which will be Park and Rec Department. And if the department heads could please state your names and your department.
Ed Shin, Park Department.
Shannon Eason, Assistant Superintendent, Michigan City Parks. Do you want all of our directors and board, or just us?
Yes, you're here. I would like to know if I could put a face to a name.
Just introduce yourselves and your position, please.
Bill Freeze, Vice President, Park Board.
Jamie Huss, Zoo Director. Sean Sheldon, Retail Manager for the zoo.
Elizabeth Emmerich, Assistant Director for you.
Patrick Foltz, Maintenance Director.
Tim Gluten, Park Board Member.
Diana Sperlin, Park Board Member.
Michael Moore, Golf Course Superintendent.
All right. Well, welcome all. And I just want to start off with roll call. Starting off with Sean Fitzpatrick. Paul Prince-Belinsky.
President.
Tracy Tillman. Present. And the next, I have the Q&A that was sent out to all department heads. And for the Park Department, the first question we asked was, do you have any substantial changes to your 2024 budget? And the answer was yes. And could you please elaborate on what those changes are?
Would you like me to read through the whole?
Just what the effective changes are.
So our parking pass sales, we increased to what we're actually selling now. Our major event revenue went up $8,880 because we now have 5 major events planned for this upcoming year, as opposed to 2 to 3 that we've had in the past. Our hall rentals revenue went up. This is based on actual rentals. What else did we have? Printing and contractual, we reduced that by $3,800. That actual line item was to purchase the daily parking tickets that we would give out at the gate. And now we have automatic receipt printers, so we're still buying the paper for the printers, but it's much cheaper than printing the tickets with all the auditing numbers on it. So we reduced that by $3,800. Utilities, just based on actual. Employee benefits, of course, we update each year to make sure they're based on the actual. We asked for $22,000 extra in our contractual for our maintenance department based on actual expenses. A lot of that right now is related to dumping fees and trash collection in Washington Park. You guys go down there and you see those huge, what are they, 40-yard dumpsters, 30-yard dumpsters, and we've got 2 of them now. We used to have 1, but just the increase of visitors and then the increased cost of dumping has gone up. We reduced the baseball revenue based on what we're actually taking in this year. Field rentals, all of that's based on actual. A substantial one is gift shop revenue at the zoo. We're projecting $68,000 more in sales next year, based on our current trends again. So that's related to the supply line account. We're asking for $35,000 more to purchase additional product to sell. There's 2 contractual line items under our concession. And we're just asking to split those. So if we have $20,000 for contractual services, we'd like to split that into 10 for North Point Pavilion and 10 for the zoo, so we can monitor more closely where those dollars are being spent, which facility. Golf revenue, we added 28,000. That's due to a 10% fee increase that we instituted this year. The rest are just employee benefits that we adjust to be actual.
Okay. And then, do you have any positions not filled in your department? And you, the answer was yes, and that's a full-time golf maintenance laborer. Correct.
Yes.
Are you requesting any new positions in your department? And if so, what positions and
So
associated, what duties?
a couple of these for the zoo don't require any increase to the budget, but the zoo has decided to combine our aviary attendant, the gift shop attendant, and the train attendant into one position called guest services. So that position would be trained in all three areas, giving the zoo more flexibility for staffing. Doesn't affect the budget. Adding a seasonal groundskeeper doesn't affect the budget, it's just adding that position back. We used to have a seasonal. We did ask for a zoo animal health care manager, which is a vet tech. But that position was cut, correct, Yvonne?
Yeah.
All the ones that were added to the budget were not,
Right.
didn't make it through the cut.
So the veterinarian tech?
It's no, was not added. The assistant golf manager was though, is that correct? Because that's seasonal, it's in the salary.
Yeah, that
order.
was just a seasonal.
Yeah, that was added. The maintenance mechanic was a full-time position that was not approved. The rec director position was not approved. And then if you go to page 10, Tracy, I think that's your next, or I'm sorry, page 9 was question 4.
As far as what equipment is needed for your department to fully operate to run the city, purchased or leased capital projects and equipments, you provided a list below. All equipment will be purchased, not leased. Did you want to take a look at that?
So going through the capital list, this is what the park department submitted to the mayor and controller. But some of this has been either reduced or cut completely. And I can go through that if you'd like. Page 9. So the Fetters Alley let's see here, playground project was reduced to $500,000. The trail was increased to $895,31, and that's because we were successful getting a $6 million grant through NERC to complete the trail construction. So that's our match amount. The North Point Pavilion beams that are listed is not city capital that we're asking for, that's our own. It's within our operating budget, so we'll do that in-house. The rule signs were approved for 50. Washington Park security cameras were eliminated, but they were replaced with 125,000.
Can I ask?
Yep.
So for the, still on page 9, going back to where the security cameras, so that's coming out of the capital of 125,000?
It was cut.
It was cut.
Yeah. And in its place, the controller added $125,000 that we need for phases 1, 2, and 3B of the Singing Sands to get through those contracts. So there's 2 trail funding amounts in there.
You cut security cameras for Washington Park with all the events going on down there and put it towards Singing Sands. Now, personally, I think that it's important to have security cameras down there working and functioning at all times to see anything going on. And that was talked about before, so I have some deep reservation about that move.
Well, I don't think it wasn't cut. These were funds that were needed for obligations we already made and
Correct.
to finish it off. Just decide, but we did not fund the security cameras. So it wasn't cut and replaced. We would have, if we would have funded the security cameras, we would have still needed, we're obligated for this $125,000.
Right.
We have, these are projects that we already have going with contractors.
They're under
Engineers.
contract, so we have to pay them.
So we have to, this
And then-
is,
On the camera side, we do have cameras interior and exterior at North Point Pavilion. IT put in cameras at our Lot 1 parking booth. There's 2 working license plate cameras right now, and we're working with IT to beta test a new type of camera system that's similar to the Flox. So it can find and record license plate numbers. It can actually count the cars that are coming in, which would be very valuable data for us to have once our visitorship. So it's not like we have no coverage, we're still working towards that. But like the controller said, we're obligated to the 125. It's under contract, so we need to pay it.
I can understand that, but I'm saying that I think that security cameras are needed down there, and I think they're needed. Is there anything in Fetters Alley?
No.
I think they're needed in Fetters Alley.
So we're
I even
looking
think
at,
they're needed on the beach, for
Yep.
incidents on the beach.
we're definitely going to put a camera system in with the Fetters Alley Playground project, so as part of that budget. Right now, we don't have the infrastructure in place, so I think it would be wise to wait until that construction starts and just add it in as one of the phases. We're looking at doing the same thing on the bandstand right now with that reconstruction project, because it just got vandalized 6 weeks ago. And we're getting ready to do a huge preservation project, so.
That preservation project that you've been talking about for a while does it have anything to do with, is it just a pavilion down there, the band shell? Or is it anything else in that immediate area?
Just
Well, I got a
the
problem.
structure.
I have a direct problem on lighting down in the park area down there. And I think that if you're not gonna do anything, you need to do something with, getting some lighting that matches that stays consistent with the lighting that we have on the north end of town, down in that park area. So it's lit up. It's dark down there. The only thing you have going is the band shell down there. And that, I think you need some that, I'm not talking about spotlights, but some kind of other for added security in that area to light it up. But we'll see what they have to say about that. The other question I have is, we brought up, when we were talking to the fire department, we brought up the issue of security on the beach, and I was asking them if they thought that some type of squawk box system would work or could be made available for the beach area for a response. So now but that's infrastructure, so I don't know if you guys can fund that, or if we can fund it through the general fund to do something like that. What I'm talking about, a call box that only goes to the main lifeguard station. If somebody's, having a problem on the beach, so they can get help to them, since they have all-terrain vehicles now, they should be able to get to help somebody. Or if there's an incident happening, that they can get to some kind of security and get something going to prevent a dangerous situation down there. I have another question. What time do they man the gates on the park?
8 to 8. Once school goes back in session, our hours change depending on staffing. Right now, we're open weekends only from 9:30 to 4. And that's mainly to capture the zoo, people coming in, but that's all the staff that I have. On the flip side of that, this year is much better than last year. Last year, we closed on August 7th, so our parking revenue this year is up $180,000 to date over last year. And we still have Oktoberfest coming up. We do intend to keep weekend staff through September as long as weather's good, because we can usually net anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000 in September from mainly, again, the zoo.
Well, so you say they only work on the weekends, right?
This time of year, right?
This time of year? Well,
Once
I
school
was
gets
down
back
there,
in.
I was down there a week ago on Saturday, and there was nobody in.
That Saturday was the one day we were closed. I had 0 supervisors to work. So that was one that was closed, but the rest of them are staff 9:30 to 4.
You were closed? You
That
didn't have
one.
any staff?
I did not have a supervisor for that day.
Oh, okay. Well, so with that money, what, does that go into a non-reverting?
No. Those are the
This
parks.
goes to the general fund?
No,
Parks general
Park
fund.
operating fund.
Yeah, we
Park
have our own
operating
general
fund.
fund.
Okay.
So it's to offset our expenses.
So is that what you funded the, Singing Sands,
No,
addition with? No?
No.
Was that funded with riverboat money?
yes.
What did he use the, park fund for? The parking?
The $4 million in their expense budget,
Their salaries,
their salaries, their operating expenses.
all the departments included in the department.
They need a riverboat too.
Yeah, so they don't even have enough to cover all their operating expenses.
So the next we're looking at, in regards to vehicles and fleet updates, number of fleet vehicles, 192, and you have a 27, correction, 192 non-fleet vehicles and 27 fleet vehicles, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And are you seeking for replacement or needing any new vehicles?
We are asking for 1 pickup truck for the maintenance department. Right here. A Gravely stand-up mower, a stand-up blower. That's it for maintenance. For golf, we're looking to do our cart rotation. So we rotate carts out in a 4-year cycle. And a rough trim mower for the golf course. And that's it as far as vehicles and equipment.
So the cart rotation that you currently have, they're ready to be replaced now?
Yes, so we're in year 2 of a 4-year cycle, so we,
You're in year 2
yeah.
of a 4-year cycle?
Yeah.
Okay. And according to the 2024 budget for the Park and Rec Department, do you feel that it is adequate in order to carry out the responsibilities and duties to run the city?
Yes.
From these departments? Did you have any others at this time?
No, just that I'm concerned about security down there in Fetters Alley, and, I don't think we should wait till, you know,
I agree. Is there anything, Controller Hoffmaster, and we have the mayor here, to get something put in place? Do we have fundings to put something in place? Any additional cameras at this time?
Well, as Shannon said, it's not going to be as simple as just buying cameras. There's no infrastructure there.
Anywhere to put?
In Fetters Alley,
No,
there's
we would
not.
have to run
We would have to.
fiber, electric service, you know, depending on placement. So that's why we're looking at putting that in with the playground project so it can be designed and engineered, and paid for, hopefully, mainly by grant money.
That would this question would have been posed, it would be good if we had someone from the police department present, because then my question would be, then how frequent do we have someone going through there?
Oh, on patrol?
Yeah.
I mean, we stepped up patrols in the park this year and added like 2 officers on the weeknights, and then in addition to the Sunset Grill police that we have and the ATVs. So Washington Park was fairly quiet this summer, and it's hard to say if that was from increased police presence. It's hard to say. After COVID, it's so hard to judge public spaces. But it was a quiet summer.
Well, as of right now, if there's no further questions from the finance committee in regards to the parks budget, I do not have any recommendations at this time. That,
I got one other question. The 2024 budget for, I'm on page 63 of, so all the contractual service looks like it went up.
What fund are you on?
It's the park admin budget,
Admin,
yeah.
contractual?
we
Contractual.
spoke about
Right.
that. These are the contractuals, she put it in here, she broke it down in the charts from 2023, 2024. And,
So it actually didn't go up,
It went down.
it went down.
Went from 89 to 43.
Okay, I was looking at the second column.
So the second column was
On
what
the
we,
113,000.
the Parks Department requested an additional $70,000 for Washington Park Police. However, after we submitted our budgets and we met with the controller, that is not, we can't do it. That the park can't pay another city department. So the police have been patrolling, you know, they knew that. We tried to set it up where the park would offset their expense for the extra patrols, but you can't do it that way. But they did have extra money in their budget, so they are still patrolling.
They're patrolling.
So how can we do it?
They are patrolling.
They are patrolling.
Shannon just said they bumped up.
They have to do it through their budget.
Yeah, they have to do it through their budget, not through somebody else's.
So, well, let me ask you this. This money cannot be transferred, it has to stay in the park fund? Or contractual services?
We removed it.
We removed it.
Yeah, we were.
It was taken
Because the
out.
park just, the police department just needs to patrol the park more, and they are.
I understand that. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm asking if there's a way to transfer the money to their fund to pay for that extra, for more patrolling down there.
They don't have enough money to fund their own budget, let alone take some of that money and give it to somebody else.
Do we have money that we can
The
put
police
in there
have adequate,
especially?
the police have adequate overtime dollars in their budget to cover the patrols needed for Washington.
Okay, well, I guess what I'm trying to get to is that, do we have a quantified agreement on what they're gonna provide with the administration and the park department? So what they're gonna provide, so we know that we have protection down there, because I know that this was brought up at a couple park board meetings, and I'm just as concerned as anybody else, because I personally had an incident in the park the night they had the shooting down there, and I've
Yes.
already,
So they have supplied us with the schedule, and all the shifts are not filled out. You know, they put it out there and then the officers sign up for the overtime. I haven't looked at it since the end of July, but I think we were at probably close to 65% of the shifts were covered, which was good, because last year, 30% were covered when we asked them. So they're getting more officers, more people are signing up, so yes, we do have a schedule.
well, I'm just saying is that, I'm looking at, can we use this lit money as money for extra patrols down there?
They've spent all the lit money.
Spent all the lit money?
Yes.
Okay. So, we cannot transfer any money, right? At all?
Not from the park fund, no.
Well, Shannon, are you hearing a little bit, I mean, they are understaffed right now. As the police department's saying too, once they get to full staffing,
They won't
Yeah,
have the
that's-
extra money.
they won't have the extra money, but won't they have, they'll have more people to take the
On
shift.
regular shift.
On regular shift.
And it won't be
yes,
overtime.
And it won't be overtime.
Right. So we'll get more coverage for plus
Yeah, I
money.
mean,
Yes.
they don't have the person, they probably didn't have as much personnel last year either.
Yeah, but sadly, that wouldn't be for this year.
No, not for
Yeah,
2020.
and like she said, they seem to be, they're around 65% of the coverage that the park has asked for, so
Which is more than double.
more than double
What we had last year.
what we had last year.
It was a quiet summer.
When we come, is there a way that we can ask people to, pay for, like, when they have an event, that they ante up money for police protection?
They have to.
They do?
Yeah, our contracts require. And it has to be Michigan City.
Yes.
Okay, so how much do they pay, say for like the boat race?
So police officers for any of our events, average, they want $50 an hour.
I just asked, do you know, or you don't have any
We
idea?
don't hire police for the boat race. I was just saying our normal events, like if you had a music festival, a wedding, that would be CVB paying the extra patrols.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
So for the park department, park admin, again, there's no further, questions from the finance committee and no recommendations at this time. So I thank you for your time on that. Did you have any questions for any other departments? Because we have everyone here, you got the park and rec, we have the park maintenance, park senior center, we have golf, and we have the park concessions.
Oh, golf, did the-
Wait.
Alright.
May I have a representative from the golf department?
Yes.
If you could come up, please, and state your name and your department. Thank you, Ms. Shannon.
Michael Moore, golf course superintendent.
did the roofs on the, golf cart building and, the, barn type building get repaired and, squared away finally? Okay, thank you.
So just a side note on that, that job came in under budget for the capital dollars that you gave us. So the park board is going to be requesting that the remaining balance of $21,000 that we'd be able to use that to put in the overhead garage doors that are needed on that same building. So
On the
that'll
barn style?
On the cart barn and some of the shop doors
The
also.
go-kart shop, or the
Golf
golf
cart.
cart shop?
Yeah.
Correct, yes.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Did you have any other questions? For no other departments? No? No. Okay, well, I would like to say that there are no further questions for any of the other Park and Rec departments at this time from the City Finance Committee. And that will conclude our 2024 department head budget hearings, and we will have wrap up and any additional recommendations on August 27th, 28th,
27
27th,
or 28.
no, 28th, 29th at 5 p.m. Thank you and have a good weekend. Thanks.
Thank you.